That's not good. Hey guys, I'm Lucky Jack, and this is my abandoned 1991 Camaro Z28 drag car.
And this is the budget LS3 that I built.
And that LS3 is going to go in here.
And make this an absolute unit of a street strip car.
So a quick history on the Camaro. This is my 1991 Camaro Z28. I bought it when I was 13 years old, basically with the intention of racing it and driving it to high school. Well, I never actually really got to drive it to high school because shortly after, the 305 kind of gave out in it. So when I was 14, I threw a 5.3 LS in here with my dad and just kind of made it a little ripper. But it didn't really have that much horsepower. It was just really good at doing burnouts. So I finally kind of bit the bullet and decided to make it a full-blown street strip, you know, daily driver-esque race car. But the 5.3, shortly after I decided to do all this stuff, cracked an oil pan because I accidentally put a jack through it. So I spent a little bit of time and a whole lot of money building the budget LS3, which is about 590 horsepower. And then I also have a built 4L60 to go behind it, which you'll see later in the video. But this time, I'm finally going to make the car running and driving again because I have to be at the racetrack here in the next 7 days. So let's get after it.
So we didn't show this getting installed on camera, but this here's our line lock solenoid. We actually got this off of Hawks Motorsports. It's wired to the top button on my Pro Ratchet shifter, so I can just hold that button. But even better, it's got a little arming switch so we can arm it. But this is the handiwork of Dad. He used the Hawks Motorsports kit and modified it, did his own wiring. And he's actually going through the C100 connector back there, which is this connector right here. That's a factory 3rd gen connector he's going through to actually run the power to that. So I hope that that works so we can do long, nasty, smoky burnouts. But it's not tonight. I would not recommend that one. Another jack in the
No, there we go.
Please be careful.
Thank you.
How you feel after looming it all, Mama?
I feel like I contributed a little bit.
I think you did. Looks good. So I took the rear seal off the back of the car and the rear cover because I wanted to change out the oil barbell, which is here. It's typically plastic, but I got in here and got it tore apart and found out someone already did that at some point. So now I kind of feel stupid for tearing it apart, but that's okay because at least I know the engine was well taken care of. So time to just reassemble it. I'm going to put the flex plate on. Got my bolts. These are all actually off the 5.3, so it all works. LS stuff's interchangeable. Oh, yep, just squirt that stuff everywhere. But just Loctiting the bolts in here because if you don't, they'll come undone. And this little freaking saw blade of death at 7,000 RPM will come up and cut through your floor and probably, you know, end up severing a limb or some crap. So I just gotta put a little bit of Loctite on them, give them a little bit of love. This Loctite's kind of wet, just squirts everywhere. So I'm gonna torque the bolts down. A little thing that I like to do is I like to go through, hit it with a star pattern, but do it at 22 pounds to begin with. And then go to the factory rated 75. Just to make sure everything's kind of good and tight. 74 pounds.
I am now marrying the LS3 to a 4L60. Now this 4L60 has been completely built. It will hold 550 horsepower, which really means 650 according to Transgo, which is where we got the parts for this. This was professionally rebuilt by a good friend of mine, and it works really well. I used to have it in the car. It's got an insane valve body on it and a really, really wicked shift kit. I never don't bark the tires on 1-2 shift. It's awesome. But I have a 3400 stall converter. It's a Boss Hog converter. It's a lockup. I had this converter in this car at one point. It blew it up, actually. So, yeah, I'm just not really excited to use this converter, but I think that it's going to work well in this application instead of the stock 5.3 that it was in behind originally. But I'm very happy. So I have 2 bolts in there right now. I got to go find the other 2 to go put in there and then do the 2 bottom ones, and we should be ready to go. And this thing could be very, very close to being shoved back into the car and back to fighting abilities. So I can't wait to get to race this thing. So let's do it to it.
These two are officially married. I now have an LS3 with a built 4L60 behind it. But the one thing that I do need to do is put the torque converter bolts in, but that'll be fine because that won't take long. So I'm just going to do that off camera real quick. So Dad here is making some trans cooler lines using that same aluminum that we used earlier in a different video for that crazy fuel system. But all he's doing is just kind of making some bends and making it go around, making sure it tucks and hugs the block so the headers aren't in the way. I think you're doing a pretty good job. He's got the Sharpie in his mouth so he can't say anything, but
I'm pretty happy with it.
well, good.
Tubing is not my area of expertise, but I'm not mad at the way the first line came out, so hopefully the second line will have good luck too.
Yep. We had to abandon the hard lines because they were just not going to fit after some quick measurements. So these are the old soft lines that we used to run on here. They sort of work, sort of don't. But you know what? We're going to be able to modify them to make them work. So I'm glad.
I think it'll be fine.
So this was our hardline system. You can see that I've started to take it out. Basically, we have to take it out because on almost every one of those compression fittings, it was leaking. Do we know why? No, we don't. We're not professional mechanics. We're just 2 guys who do this in their garage. And yeah, I just don't think that the hardline was a great idea. I told him that, but Dad wanted to try hardlines. So we're going with my plan now of running ANs from one length to another, which
I think that's like 2 steps up from running rubber line the entire length of the vehicle, right?
Barely.
Barely? It works though.
Hey, hard lines were a good idea until we found out that the kind of cheapy aluminum piping that came with this set just really wasn't up to the task.
Yeah, pretty much. Scam is on.
Yeah.
I'm building a shifter plate bracket for the ratchet shifter to fit onto a factory 3rd gen Camaro tunnel, because if you didn't know, there's a pretty big difference. These are my 2 templates. As you can see, this is what the bottom of a stock 3rd gen shifter looks like. This is what the bottom of a B&M ratchet looks like. So basically I just laid these on here, traced them out. I'm going to cut them out real quick and then weld them. It's about a 2-inch difference, so this will be mounted about 2 inches above that. But then we can mount the shifter on top. It'll have a nice solid base that we can be able to use to bang gears with that 4L60. Here we have my finished shifter mount bracket. I don't think it looks terrible. It's not great, but you know, I'm not a professional welder or fabricator. I'm just a 17-year-old who knows how to weld. But I mean, overall, I think it looks pretty good. I added some gussets on this side, so it'll help reduce load on this, and those welds helps it, you know, strengthen. I did not add them on this side, so I can actually get my fat fingers in there to be able to run the nut up on these bolts. But overall, I think that this is going to be a pretty good design to hold my shifter in. Dad's shot some paint on the bracket. It looks really good, so getting ready to install that. You almost finished wiring up the reverse lights and the neutral safety switch?
Yeah, why?
I don't know, I was just asking.
Are we videoing?
We are videoing.
Yeah, I am. Matter of fact, plug it in the last thing right now. Should have put on there. There we go.
Hey, there we go.
They're all wired up. A little tested tape around them, make a nice little harness to protect the wiring under the carpet. Got our wires coming up here. So now, we put her in reverse, we get reverse lights. Put her in Parker neutral, we get a little start action. Sounds pretty good to me.
Sounds pretty good to me. My little ratchet bracket is installed and rewired. So now, I know this is kind of trippy because I'm in the passenger seat, but first, second, third, fourth, neutral, reverse park. There we go. This is honestly probably the craziest thing I've ever had to deal with on an engine. This here is my oil filter. Standard LS1 oil filter, because that's what sort of pan this engine uses. Like almost 95% of LS swaps. This here is the part that was sticking out of the pan. I've been through 2 different filters. That, not even the right size at all. Does not screw in. This side that was screwed into the pan actually fits, screws in like normal. So, that's just annoying. So I'm not so sure that this isn't installed backwards or not actually the right thing at all. I think that this is for some other application. They just had it in the wrong pile, whatever. I don't care. Not my problem anymore. What I am going to do is, this is the old busted up 5.3 that was in the car originally. This pan is cracked, but this piece right here is still good. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this piece off and put it on there. It's going to work just fine. This is actually insane. So I just pulled this one out. This one wasn't even tight, by the way. But I just pulled this one out of the old junk pan. Came right out. Look at that. Look at that difference. That is from the brand new pan. This is from the old junk pan. There is obviously a pretty big difference in those. They're literally the same part number. Like, I buy them from the same freaking place online. There should be no difference between these, and yet there's a pretty big difference. So I don't know what's up with that, why that's not working, but this one, right on there. Whatever, that's just annoying. Time to see, do the gauges work? That's not good.
we had electrical issues last night and we diagnosed them off camera. But today, Dad, being the amazing person that he is, he got out here during school and was able to,
Not my school, your school.
I know my school, whatever. Whenever I was in class and he wasn't, you know, he had a day off, he came out here and worked on the race car for me, thankfully. And he got the gauges working and the starter working, which wasn't working last night. So now we can hopefully fire it up once we put fluids into it, hopefully.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm so happy the Camaro is finally running again. It's been a long time coming, and to finally get this budget LS3 in there and running is amazing. I can't wait to see how fast this thing is at the drag strip and how it drives on the street, because this is going to be a whole lot of horsepower, honestly, for a 17-year-old high school kid. But you know what? I can control myself, use some self-control, and drive it like I own it. So, if you want to see this thing on the road, make sure that you subscribe here to Lucky Jack Racing, the coolest 17-year-old hot rodder on YouTube. Make sure that you got that bell notification turned on so you know whenever we put this video out about this car driving on the road that you will be there to see it, because that's coming soon. I honestly don't think that this car is running as good as it could be. I don't think it's loping right. There's definitely some timing issues, some fueling issues that need to be adjusted and or taken care of. But you know what? All that will happen next time whenever we get this thing on the street. Right now, it's a huge win because this thing is running. It is alive again, and I'm so excited for it. So you know what? Thanks for watching. I'm Lucky Jack. Take it easy. Have a great day.